In the last 3 years, my whole life has changed. My name's Yomi. I'm 21 years old. In the last 3 years, I've made over $1 million. Right, I want to say I'm not a millionaire. I don't have £1 million just sitting in my bank. However, I do make a very good amount of money. I live in a nice apartment, I have nice things, and I live the life I truly want, right? And for context, I'm only 21 years old. I literally graduated Manchester Metropolitan University last year doing accounting and finance. So how the fuck, being a uni student, have I made $1 million in the last 3 years, right? And I'm gonna say that it wasn't just a magic remedy. I didn't just wake up one day and suddenly become a person that is making 5 figures a month. I didn't have a magic genie. I didn't win the lottery. There was three main things that genuinely changed my life in order for me to become this person, because I'm no different in terms of work ethic. I don't work harder than anybody else. I don't have a crazy high IQ. Three things genuinely changed my life, right? So like I said, I am 21 years old. I've been making 5 figures per month consistently for the last 3 years, right? I live in my dream apartment. I live my dream life. I get to play paddle. I get to travel the world. I get to take care of the people around me, retire my mum, and all these things. But I want to say that it wasn't always like this, right? Just like you guys, I have worked normal jobs. I've worked in River Island, Nando's, McDonald's, hospitals. I've worked in all sorts of different jobs. And you can see here, literally last year, I graduated. This is me in 2025, graduating in August with my mum and my stepdad next to me, right? I was a uni degenerate. When I first started uni 4 years ago, I was a degenerate. I was making £1,000 a month, if that, working at River Island, picking up part-time shifts. And the problem was, I was spending all my money going out, right? I'm not gonna lie. I was going out 3 times a week. I was drinking loads. I was eating out, ordering food. And the problem I had was I realized that I was not on the trajectory to achieve my goals. So if my goals was here, my current trajectory was taking me here. I was going to become a corporate NPC, working in an office down there, not truly living that life, because that was something that I was on track to do, but I really didn't want to do that. I knew that early. Before I even went to university, I knew that wasn't the life I wanted to live. So I had to change something. Something had to change, or nothing was going to change, is a saying that you constantly hear. And the first thing that changed my whole life was focusing on building a skill rather than building a business, right? And this is probably the most important one, because the life that I wanted wasn't crazy. I didn't want a yacht. I didn't want a private jet. I didn't want a crazy, crazy life. I just wanted to be able to travel. I wanted not to have to work a 9 to 5 and be restricted to those hours. And I wanted to be able to take care of the people around me. And for that, you just think, oh, I need to run a business. But I realized that I didn't need to run a business. I didn't need to be innovative and create a crazy business idea. I needed to build a skill that was going to allow me to make money, good amount of money, whilst doing these things. Because I needed to make maybe like 5K a month. That would allow me to do the things I want. So I think a lot of people, when it comes to entrepreneurship or self-improvement or building a good life, we think we've got to reinvent the wheel. Because when I was younger, whenever I used to think of a business owner or a successful person, I'd think of someone that's created something. You know, the Steve Jobs of the world, or the Mark Zuckerberg, who's actually created something. And it's like, I didn't think I was good enough for that. I didn't have the creative ability. I didn't have the skills to run a business. So I thought, well, what is a business? And a business is multiple skills combined. For example, right, a marketing agency is someone that's good at marketing, good at getting clients, good at sales, good at managing people, and all these different things are skills. Marketing's a skill, sales is a skill, management's a skill, client fulfillment's a skill. These things are all skills. So I thought, okay, if I can build skills, then it's going to put me in a way better position to achieve the things I want, right? So you can see, like I said, marketing agency, sales, marketing, management, leadership. So it makes sense to pick up skills and stack cash, because you never know. One day I might become that guy where I've got enough skills to run a business. But best believe 18-year-old me had no skills. I genuinely had no skills. So I thought, okay, let me pick up skills and stack cash at the same time. And the skill I chose was sales, specifically high ticket sales. That's what I do. And what high ticket sales is, I'll give you a brief, quick explanation. It's where you're a sales rep, you're an online sales rep for these coaches and influencers. So, for example, a massive person in the space is Brez Scales. If you go on Instagram, you type in Brez Scales, he's got a lot of followers. He's an online coach, right? And he charges a hell of a lot of money for his services. And you got to think about, like, the BMW owner doesn't personally sell his BMWs. He has people selling them for him. Same with these online coaches. Instead of him selling his services, I sell them for him. So I manage his Instagram, I kind of take Zoom calls for him, but that's a skill, sales in itself. And I've been doing that for 3 years. And the plan was to pick up the skills and stack cash, hopefully get more skills. But to be honest, I've been quite happily just doing this one skill and making a lot of fucking money from it. So that's kind of what changed for me. I decided I'm not going to try and run a business, do drop shipping or do a marketing agency or do some crazy shit with AI. I'm just going to pick up skills and stack cash. And I've been doing it ever since. So that's the first number one thing that changed everything. So if you take one thing away from this video, is pick up a fucking skill. And there's loads of skills out there. You know, there's editing, there's marketing, there's sales. There's loads of skills out there. They all work. Some are easier than others. But for me personally, sales was the path of least resistance, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing that really changed everything was understanding that my belief must serve me. You're thinking, what the fuck does that even mean, right? And this is a book, and this is a person that changed my life. Nero Knowledge. Shout out to Nero Knowledge, and shout out to this book. I never used to read. If anyone's like me and thinks, oh, what the fuck, reading shit, read this book and it will change your life, genuinely. Even if you just commit to 10 pages a day, it will genuinely change your life. So what does your belief must serve you mean? So everything I believe must serve the best interests of me moving towards my goals. So for example, right? If I want to lose weight in the gym, but I have an underlying health condition that makes it harder for me to lose weight in the gym, I can either be like, oh, it's so hard for me to lose weight in the gym, or I can just get on with it and be like, no, it doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, the goal is the same. So my beliefs must serve me getting towards my goal. So for example, if I want to become successful, I can either blame other people. I can say, oh, I don't have the time, I don't have the skills, or I don't know where to start. Or I can reinvent my belief system to be like, well, no, it's my fault. I'm going to do everything in my power to change that, right? So, for example, I was scammed before, and I could either think, well, you know what? No one makes money online. Everyone's a scammer online. I don't care. You know what? Making money online is a scam. That's a belief I could have. Or I could have, yes, there are people that are scammers out there, but there are also people out there that do make money online who are genuine, that are trying to help me. So I just need to find those people or find a way to do it myself, right? Because at the end of the day, this belief, if my goal is to make money online and be successful, if I believe this, that does not help me in any way, shape or form. There's no positive to this belief at all. It just reignites the fact that I can't make money online because I don't believe anyone does. So I'm never going to be able to achieve the goal I want. So if you've got goals, then think about your beliefs on a daily basis and do they align with your goals? And if they don't, it's not a problem. All you need to do is rewire your thoughts and rewire it. Every time you catch yourself thinking something negatively about getting towards your goals, change it and think how that's going to help me getting towards my goals, right? So first thing you need to do is lay out your goals. So for example, for me, it was like, okay, retire my mum, be able to travel, nice apartment, and pretty much freedom, right? And freedom is different for a lot of people. Freedom for me is being able to buy things when I want, be able to do things on a random day, and be able to live the life I truly want. And these are my goals, right? So everything I was believing on a day-to-day basis, even to this day, has to align and serve the best interests of these things. Very simple concept, right? So that was the second thing. The third thing, which is, I would say, the number one thing that holds most people back from actually achieving the life they want and being able to make the money they want, is dreams versus goals. This might sound super obvious, but I don't think people know the difference between a dream and a goal, right? And I'm going to go for it today. So a dream is something that if it happens, great. But we're not actively working towards it. For example, I've got a dream of getting a Lamborghini. But do I really care if I get a Lamborghini? No. Like if it happens, great. But am I working every single day in order for me to get a Lamborghini? No, I'm not. I don't really care. Or I want to play in the Premier League. That'll be fucking great. But do I genuinely, am I working towards playing in the Premier League every single day, doing one-on-one sessions, trying to network and with scouts and all that? No, I'm not. I'm just playing football for fun, right? And that's what most people's goals are. When someone tells me they want to make money online, or they want to be financially free, or they want to make a lot of money, or they want to do this, but are you actively working towards that every single day? If the answer is no, then at that point it is just a dream, my friend. And what a goal is something that we have, but we're actively working towards. So for example, retire mum was my goal. So what I was doing is I was working out how much my mum makes a month, how much extra I need to make a month to be able to pay my mum's salary. Because if I can pay my mum's salary every single month, then she is retired. She doesn't have to work, right? Pay off stepdad's mortgage. Okay, how much money has my stepdad's mortgage got on it left? How much money do I need to make and set aside every single month to be able to pay that off? And not have to get a graduate job. So rather than just going to university, finishing the degree, then thinking, oh shit, what do I do now? I'm at a place now where I need to get a graduate job. No. In university, I was doing everything in my power in order for me not to have to get a graduate job. I was building skills, I was making money to make sure it was not a reality that I could even slip into finding a grad job and being stuck there. Because that's the reality for a lot of people. When you ask them at 18 what do they want to do, they didn't say they wanted to be a fucking corporate banker, but 20 years later here they are because they fell into it, right? So for me, it was understanding what's a dream and what is a goal. Because if you can get very clear on what your goals are and what the life you want to live, it makes it way easier to work towards them. And it's just simple steps, small incremental steps in order for you to build this big goal. And that's like the compound effect, right? So again, obviously I didn't just acquire these 3 things overnight, but every time I found myself drifting or being stagnant, I would revert back to these 3 things. And these 3 principles is genuinely what changed and how I've made $1 million over the last 3 years at 21 years old, because that's pretty unheard of. Just from a skill, not from a business, from a skill. So I would say they are all important, but the number one thing, if you have to take anything away from this video, is build a fucking skill rather than building a business, right? If you boys enjoyed this, drop a like, subscribe, and let me know if you enjoyed the content. Peace out.